Hey guys, I'm back once again for another review. As you guys know, a while back I just got a really awesome VHS package from one of my new friends here on YouTube, and I pretty much just wanted to watch a movie from there and do a review on it. And the movie that I decided to watch is a movie that I've actually been wanting to see for a really long time, and that is John Carpenter's Body Bags. Um, like I said, this was probably one of the best things that came. I love the whole package, but this was probably the best thing for me that came in the package because when I got this tape, I actually thought it was worth a lot because a little while ago it actually used to be worth a lot of money. Like this tape actually used to be pretty rare, and so yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was like I was really excited about it. But now I found it's not as rare. It's still pretty expensive, but now that Scream Factory is putting out the Blu-ray of it, this tape is not really as expensive or rare. But other than that, I really wanted to see this movie, and I'm really glad I finally did. So I popped it in today, and I thought I would just give my own quick review on it. Like I said, the movie is directed by John Carpenter, who's one of my favorite horror directors. Of course, he directed my favorite horror movie of all time, Halloween, as well as tons of others, Prince of Darkness, Village of the Damned, just tons of movies. And this is actually a horror anthology, which I didn't know it was until I popped it in. And there's 3 different stories. One thing that's cool is one of the stories is actually also directed by Tobe Hooper, which I actually thought was really cool that Tobe Hooper did it. So that's 2 amazing directors in one movie. Why not? But I'm just gonna give a brief description of each story, and then I'll tell you guys my thoughts on each one. So the first one, the stories are listed on the back. The first story is called The Gas Station, which is basically about just this gas station that is sitting next to this road, and this girl was going there to work there overnight. And while she's there, she's driving with her friend, and they hear on the radio that there's a serial killer on the loose. And one thing that's cool is that the serial killer is from Haddonfield, which, as everybody knows, is the town that Halloween it takes place in. So I thought it was kind of cool hearing about that it was a killer from Haddonfield. But she comes in there and she meets the guy, and the guy, he's giving her the thing, oh, you gotta do this, gotta do that, or whatever. And then he also says that the door locks from the outside, and the only way to get in and out is with a key. So yeah, he leaves her, and she's basically just sitting there. I think her name is Anne, and she's she's studying for a test that she has for her college class. And there's 3 people that come up to her. The first person is actually played by Wes Craven, which I thought was pretty cool that Wes Craven has a small part in it, because he's also one of my favorite horror directors. And he basically just comes up and asks for, I think, some cigarettes or something, and then he goes on. Then the next one is this this guy that you can tell she finds kind of handsome, but he buys some gas, and then he ends up leaving his credit card, and when that happens, she ends up accidentally getting locked out of the store, but she runs after him saying, hey, you forgot your credit card, and she forgets the keys, so she's locked out for a little bit. She ends up finding a way to get back in, but before she gets back in, she runs into this old sort of bum type of guy, and he keeps saying, hey, can I use the bathroom? And so she gives him the keys, he goes and uses the bathroom, whatever. And she's pretty creeped out by the guy, because he seems really sketchy, He's just like, I really want to use the bathroom, and he's just a weird guy. Then there's this couple that come along, this older couple, and they're like out partying and stuff, and they both seem kind of drunk. So the guy says, hey, can I use the bathroom? And she's like, yeah, could you also go check on the bum that's in the bathroom? And he goes, yeah, sure. So he goes and does that, comes back out. Apparently the bum's in there asleep, and you can really tell that the story they're trying to make it seem like that the bum is somehow related to either the killer or related to the serial killer in some way. But I don't want to get any more into that one story because I didn't expect the person that turned out to be the killer. I didn't expect that person to be the killer at the end. So I like that story. It wasn't I thought it was going to be a typical slasher story, but it actually wasn't. He doesn't use a knife in it. I do like the way that the guy dies at the end, though. I think he dies in a really cool way. But yeah, the gas station, it was a pretty good story. I think that out of the 3 stories on it, that was probably my first favorite. And then I think that the next one was kind of like, the next one is called Hair, which actually has Stacy Ketch in it, I think is what his last name is, and Deborah Harry, who is the lead singer of the band Blondie, for those of you who listen to 80s pop bands and stuff like that, or new wave is what they're really called. And basically the guy, his name's Richard, and he's losing his hair, with male pattern baldness, and he's very, very self-conscious about it, and he has no self-confidence in himself because he's losing his hair. He gets in an argument over his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's pretty attractive, and she's, telling him, his girlfriend's played by Deborah Harry. She's pretty much saying, "Oh no, you're fine. I don't see what the big deal is. You're perfect." He's like, "Well, it doesn't make me happy." So, he's trying different things about trying to get his hair back. Like at one point, he buys a bunch of he buys a hairspray and sprays over his head to make it look dark and everything. He gets a toupee, and just a bunch of stuff. And finally, she gets kind of fed up with him and says, I think we should take some time off, because he just has an obsession with trying to get his hair back. Till finally sees an infomercial of a man saying, "Hey, if you want hair, we can do it." So he actually goes to the play store that the man says he has it, and there's this nurse there, and she's kind of like an oversexed nurse, and she's like really turned on by them talking about hair and stuff. And basically he says, "Okay, we're gonna give you there's no surgery, it's just something we put on there." And he says, and there's different hairstyles he can choose from, and he ends up choosing the one that kind of looks like, for those of you who know who Fabio is, it kind of looks like that. Like the hair is pretty much all the way down to past his shoulders. And they said, "All right, we're going to do that." So he basically wakes up the next morning and his hair is all the way down past his shoulders, and he's just, he loves it. He's got so much confidence. His girlfriend's really turned on by it and everything like that. And he's pretty much really, excited he has hair. It's like he feels like a new, complete man. Until things start happening. His throat starts hurting a little bit, and he ends up looking down there, and it looks as if he's got a hair growing out of his throat. And he has no idea, what's going on. He just thinks that he's sick. So he stays in bed, and then when he wakes up, his hair is all the way down to down past the middle of his back. He's got hair growing out of his face and everything. And then when he cuts off his hair, it grows into these small little, they're not worms, but they look like little snake creatures. And yeah, and that's just, I thought that was a really cool idea. I never thought about that, having your hair come to life after you cut it off. I really like that story. I thought the acting was pretty good. I think Deborah Harry did a good job. Oh, and Sheena Easton is also in it. And yeah, I thought that was a pretty good one. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I thought it was a pretty good original story. And then the third short story, and it is directed by Tobe Hooper, and it's called The Eye. And basically, The Eye is about this man he's a baseball player, and he's just about to make it big in baseball and be professional. And he's married, and he has a wife, and he's actually driving home to see her because they're about to have this nice romantic dinner. And he ends up almost hitting a deer, and he ends up getting in a car crash, and a huge shot of glass just goes and gets stuck right into his eye. So he has to go to the hospital, and apparently they cannot save his right eye. So he has no eye. But they end up saying, "Well, we're gonna try this thing. We're actually gonna give you somebody else's eye. They've never done this before, but they're like, we're gonna give you somebody else's eye." And they end up doing it. His eye is pretty blurry when it first starts off, but he can actually see. And they give him a contact so that eye is the same color as his other eye. And so now it starts off, everything's fine, but he ends up getting these really bad headaches, and he starts having hallucinations. Like at one point, he looks outside of his house, and there's this dirt bed where he's been working, and then all of a sudden, like a zombie, like a woman covered in blood, just busts out of the dirt, and yeah, he has that. He has another thing where he starts dumping food down at a garbage disposal, and an arm pops up out, and it starts spurting blood everywhere, like it's being cut up by the garbage disposal, and he has no idea what's going on. And he ends up wanting to do some research on it, and he finds out that his eye actually belonged to a serial killer who used to murder women with blonde hair. His wife happens to have blonde hair, and he ends up just finding out his story. So at the end of the movie, for somehow his eye actually turns him into a serial killer, and he ends up trying to murder his wife at the end. I don't want to get any further in that one, but I think that next to the first story, the gas station, I think that was probably my favorite story in it, next to the gas station. But yeah, like I said, really enjoyed all three stories in this movie. I thought it was a really good horror anthology. Each story had its own original. Each one was original. It was very unique in their own ways, and I really, really enjoyed this. One thing that's funny is that just like the Tales from the Crypt stories, there's actually a crypt keeper in it, and it's actually played by John Carpenter, and he's in a morgue, and he's like this older guy with long hair, and he's talking about all the dead bodies. Like at one point, he's looking at all the toe tags of each of the dead bodies, and he's like, "Oh, died of natural causes. That's not fun. Give me a stab wound I can poke around in." And then he ends up finding a body bag, and he's like, "Oh yeah, a body bag. Well, I'm gonna get that in there." And it's just acting all funny and everything. He has this little table set up that has like candles and stuff. Like he's having a nice. It's supposed to look like he's having like a nice dinner or whatever, when he's really drinking like he's got like a champagne glass and he's drinking acid or whatever, the embalming fluid, I think. And that was really funny. It was cool seeing John Carpenter play that character, because I always enjoy when directors actually have a part in their own movies. I think it's really just a funny thing. But yeah, he was all dressed up, and it was really cool seeing him as sort of like the crypt keeper. He introduced in every story. And then at the very end of the movie, you find out that he was actually a dead body, and he's destined to be cut open like every other dead body there, and by these two coroners that come in, and one of them is played by Tom Arnold, which was kind of funny seeing him in there, and I think that the other one is played by Tobe Hooper, which yeah, was pretty good. But yeah, like I said, I thought that was a really cool touch, having John Carpenter be the actual person that starts the stories off and everything. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this one. Really great short stories, really good acting, a lot of good cameos in it. Like I said, Tom Arnold's in it, Tobe Hooper has a guest appearance, Wes Craven, even Greg Nicotero actually makes a small guest appearance in it, but his part is like really short, and I think it's only like a few lines. But yeah, for anybody who has not seen this movie, I definitely recommend Body Bags. Like I said, the tape is pretty expensive. I've seen it on Amazon for about $20 now. It used to be a lot more, but now it's about $20 or so. But Scream Factory is actually putting this out on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's out yet or if it's coming out. I think I heard it's coming out soon. But yeah, Scream Factory is awesome, and I'm really glad they're putting this out. But I got the tape for free, so I'm really not going to jump on the Blu-ray just yet, but I might eventually. I'm actually going to start buying Blu-rays because I'm getting a Blu-ray player for Christmas, so this is going to be one of the movies I'm probably going to pick up. But like I said, if you have not seen Body Bags, and if you're a fan of good horror anthologies, this is one I definitely recommend. I'd have to say, next to Creepshow, this is probably my favorite horror anthology that I've seen. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm really I'm looking forward to I'm really glad I got this for free, and I'm looking forward to watching a couple of other films from the box. I'm gonna watch them all, but I'm actually gonna probably do a review of maybe one or two more movies that I got from that box. So yeah, I'm just really excited to be checking those movies out. But like I said, thanks to everyone for watching my review of Body Bags. you know, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking my videos. I hope to see everybody again next time. And yeah, that was my review, so I'll see you guys later.